Hey, good afternoon and welcome, you amazing human beings, guys. It's been some time since we had a live event. We had a lot happening in the past week. We took some time off. We celebrated the beautiful Miss Martial Arts birthday as well as our anniversary together. So appreciate the grace. Thank you for the time off. We're all well rested and super excited for what's happening this week. Now, we're going to keep today's show neat. We're going to keep it tidy, but really it's about discussing the future of what we're about to do with dividend markets as a trading community as a whole. We're about to take things to a complete new level. Now, as much as you guys know, the dream and the goal has always been, how do we build a community that is not only learning, but that's growing, that's sharing experience, and ultimately challenging themselves as traders to learn new strategies, to try new things, to find how they flow. The one thing we found over the past couple of years is that no two traders trade the same, right? We see people trading slightly differently. We see people taking different strategies, different types of risks. And the one thing we've been seriously looking at and considering over the past couple of months is, how do we create an environment for people to be able to share, for people to be able to feel like they're being mentored, that they're learning, that they're growing, that they're helping their community. And what we found is just Telegram doesn't cut it, right? You guys are in different Telegram groups. Some of you are in more than one or two or three, but ultimately it's a very difficult place to feel like you can be share information, that you're heard, that ultimately that you're able to learn and grow as a trader. Please close this line. Right, so we've spent a ton of time on this, and it is finally that time. We are almost about to share the future of trading and how we're going to be doing things moving forward. Now, that time is not today specifically, but we are busy with the finishing details. And there's a couple key important things that I really want to explain to really hit home why this is so important for not only us as a community, but for traders as a whole and in general, right? In a lot of cases, as I said, you're in more than one Telegram group, right? So you are either subjected to receiving information only, and if it's an open group or discussion, people are generally too scared to share what it is they're seeing, because out of fear that they might be wrong, or they're not being heard, or they're not being seen, right? So what we're developing and what you guys are about to see launched over this next week is a custom platform and a community-based system that rewards people sharing, that allows people to comment, share their views about what's busy happening in the world, but a place where the learning, the sharing, the community aspect, and the environment ties as a whole, so that as you as a trader contribute towards a community, as you like, as you share things, as you receive insights, as you study videos, as you attend live broadcasts, you level up in your status within our community, right? So it's very easy to see when someone on a higher level is adding some context or adding some value. You can see, okay, wow, this is a leader, right? And it's super easy to distinguish those who are putting a ton of effort into the community versus those who are slightly newer and need a little bit more help. Now, that is the community that we are going to be launching within this week, and it's going to be an absolute game changer, right? We've looked at some of the best elements of what we've developed over the past couple of years, and by far we see that in the groups where people are learning, where people are sharing, there's growth, there's a sense of community. There are some days where markets just don't go our way, and what we find is where there's a group of people that can share that can motivate each other, that can inspire each other, it just creates a whole better outcome for traders as a whole. Over and above that, guys, there's no place for traders to freely share their highs and their lows, right? Again, you guys know my view and my talking points about sharing profits on Instagram, on Facebook, and social media, and I just don't believe that's what traders should be doing. Like, you don't see a doctor taking a chest x-ray of somebody, posting it online and saying, see, I'm a real doctor, because there's some pride, there's some prestige that's associated with someone becoming a doctor. And I feel there's a time and place coming where we can again feel proud to be traders. But again, we've got to be the change we want to see. In our community, there's going to be areas for you to be able to post, right? This was my wins, this was my losses, right? And receive some feedback on what have you done right, what have you potentially done wrong. So the community aims to tie into every aspect of what we've been building over the past couple of years, to integrate trading opportunities with learning, with sharing with community. And we are just so excited. It's currently one of the biggest projects we are busy with this week as we integrate all of these different things, and as we sort of pick and elevate leaders within the community to share the greater vision in terms of what we're busy doing. So that is all coming to you guys this week, right? We had a soft launch this weekend of testing the platform, making sure it works, making sure it's going to work for us. I can only tell you with great excitement and great joy, this is going to be one of the biggest changes to trading we've ever seen in the past, right? You might be involved in Discord groups, you might be involved in Telegram, and this takes things to a whole new level. And we are so excited to see what this will do for not only you as a trader watching me right now, but for our community as an absolute whole, right? So that's the first big thing. The second thing, which is absolutely massive, which I'm saving for release either tomorrow or potentially Wednesday, is we are looking at an additional environment for traders to come and trade that is safe, that guarantees STP type executions with the best possible team behind it. We've been in negotiations for quite a few months, and I will share on the launch my reasons for why we're looking at making a switch, why we're looking at making a change. But ultimately, it's about trading in a professional environment, as close to Wall Street as humanly possible, as close to real market conditions as humanly possible. And we're super excited. This will be announced either tomorrow or Wednesday, that we are essentially taking on a new environment and a new home to do things a little bit differently. Now, all these things combined means we're about to change things up a whole new level. The way we present market opportunities, the way we present learning, education, videos, etc., is all going to change. So if you're part of Premium Plus already, all I can say is you're in the very best place you can be. And if you're not part of Premium Plus yet, what I can guarantee is you will be in the next couple of weeks, because you are going to be missing out on one of the biggest changes in the way we trade, in the way we interact with the market. All right, now moving on into what is physically happening this week in terms of the markets. As you guys can see across the board, there is chaos, right? If you're looking at indices, if you're looking at commodities, you're seeing massive sell-offs across the board. Now, for most people, this would be a scary time. They will essentially be worrying about why our markets are busy moving the way they are. But all I can tell you is that it represents massive opportunity, right? When markets start to sell off, they start to give away some of the gains that they've made. And this is what we call a price action recession, right? Any sort of reversal in price is a good thing, because it removes that pressure that price has been sustaining over a period of time, right? So the gold gains we've seen, the indice gains we've seen, these reversals that we're seeing are removing some of that pressure from those previous gains, allowing us to find new bottoms on certain types of markets. So what is driving this, right? There's quite a few things, right? We can talk about the potential government shutdown that ultimately didn't end up happening, but a ton of fear in the market that is primarily promoting the strength of the dollar. If you go have a look at the dollar right now, the dollar is absolutely thumping in the markets, right? There's quite a few different articles out there floating around, but at the moment, the fear-based system that the markets are looking at is all promoting the dollar. There's only one winner right now, and that is the dollar. So how do we deal with this from a trading perspective? I do see a question from Fawad saying, so we'll not be using HFM anymore. That's not necessarily the case, but I will provide more information when we get to that road or to that intersection, because there's some exciting products, there's exciting trade opportunities and instruments that we're going to be introducing that is going to be an absolute game changer. So I just want to look at this and quickly tell you guys a few things. Now, if you're part of Premium Plus, we have our next Golden Nuggets training coming up this weekend, right? So this Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to be going through the Golden Nugget V2 of the Golden Nugget training. That's going to take what you currently know about the Golden Nugget, expand it substantially further, as well as showing you 2 other times every single day on different instruments to receive some trading and reversal opportunities. So if you're a part of that, you can best believe there's at least going to be 3 times in a day you receive high probability reversals on the instruments that you know and love and that you trade already quite a bit. But if we can look across the board, we're seeing right now there's massive sell-offs. Doesn't matter in which direction you're looking at. Indices, massive sell-off. We look at gold, massive sell-off, and potentially even a break of the interim market structures, as well as on USA 100. Currently looking at a 1 hour time frame. you can see the massive sell-offs that we've sustained over the last week and or two, right? So all these sell-offs across the board, what do they mean and how do we deal with these from a trading perspective? Well, super simply is that when we see a sell-off, we are establishing a new trend, and all we're waiting to do is to see that trend start to break. Now, I'm going to focus on gold, and I'm going to start with gold this afternoon because this is going to be one of the easier trades for us to potentially catch in terms of the sell or that potential reversal. Right now, I'm focusing on gold because you guys have done exceptionally well on gold. I can see there's a lot of gold traders that are really enjoying the price of gold and its movement. So if you're one of them, massive congratulations. But what we're seeing on gold is obviously a very strong bear momentum, right? This is carried through the last week. But what this does for us is it offers opportunity to try and catch a reversal on the price of gold. Now, there are quite a few of you that already messaged towards late last week saying, you know, is there going to be a breakout? Are we going to see gold break out of this market structure? And gold immediately rejected that and fell towards the wayside, right? Now, there was a couple of you that inboxed me and asked, you know, are we looking at longs in gold? Will gold break? And the response I gave to just about everybody was wait for that previous resistance to be broken. What happened? We started the reversal of this bear market trend. We hit that previous resistance level and gold immediately failed and returned towards that downside. So we have a couple things that are going to come up this week, right? The first thing being, for any sort of long trajectory on gold, and this can happen this afternoon, it can happen this evening, it can happen tomorrow, we need gold to breach that 1857, 1860 to be safe mark, and that'll start to tease in this next state of bull momentum. Now, at 1860, it doesn't necessarily mean gold has broken the bear structure, but it's at least started to violate some of the first rules in terms of the trade structure. So we want to make a higher high and we will make a higher low. If we get above the 1860 mark and we fail to go back down and we start to make that new high level, we're then starting to see the first price action states for a new bull move, right? So this is the first place I've got alerts on all my accounts is to try and mark off. I've got it specifically at 1858, but 1860 is going to be the safe level that you want to start to monitor for a potential break towards the top side. Now, I'm fairly cautious right now, looking at how much gold is sold off to potentially be selling gold any further. There's a lot of discussions floating around about where the bottom of gold may end up being, right? Is that gold mark way further on the daily, closer to the 1808 mark? There's a large consensus in the gold community that that is where gold is trying to target, right? It's trying to target that 1808, 1805, 1810 mark. Now, I don't believe there's enough meat on the table here for looking at that short position, for the reason being that we are currently already at market support, right? So yes, the trend in this particular case supports a gold move further down, except the only thing I worry about here is that we could see a sustained pullback at least 240 pips north back to that 1858 mark. Now, I don't want to be holding a sell with a 250 pip gold stop loss or more, because again, that's just far too much risk. However, what I would be waiting for primarily on the price of gold is some sort of pullback to this level. Depending on what gold does at this level, should we go through and act as support, I would look at immediately buying gold. But if we get to that level, we reject, that would be the perfect place for me to sell on the pullback of a bear move, right? I'm never looking to sell at the end of an extension on a bear move. I'm looking to sell on the pullback. So if gold ends up pulling back to that 1860 mark, that would be the perfect opportunity to look for a continuation towards the sell side. Now, quick look on the indices market, right? As I mentioned, US 30 is pretty much in the sustained bear cycle all the way again for the last pretty much 2 weeks, last 2 weeks of September. But having a look at where we are now, you're going to see a little bit of a contrast between USA 100, and I'll zoom in. This is on a 1 hour time frame. USA 100 has obviously made that bottom end. The bottom end we received on the 27th and has started to look like what looks like a recovery, right? It looks like a bit of a breakout. Now, from a pure price action perspective, if you're only looking at this segment of the market, you may start to see this as a bull breakout. However, it's fairly late, right? If we have a look at the RSI, catching this move only now would be a little bit dangerous. If we have a look at USD, right, USD made a little bit of a temporary move. If I go back to 1 hour, same story. We see that little bit of a breakout move that started to happen. And if you have a look at it, where we're currently sitting, we're almost sitting back at that support level. So looking at both USA 100, looking at USD, USA 100, I'm very, very keen to have a look at what does the USA session this afternoon do on this level of support, right? Both USD, USA 100 have some sort of diagonal support here. I would like to see, right, a change of structure here in the sense of I would like to see some bull momentum, right, on the USA US 100, and I'll be using both of these indices as confirmation for gold, right? If you have a look where gold's sitting, if you have a look at where USA US 100 is sitting, right, we can see the dominating factor here is the dollar, right? So then you might say, well, Dan, then why don't we cut to the chase? Why don't we go have a look at what's happening on the dollar? And you'd be right, because that's what we're doing right next, right? So on a daily time frame, you'll see, let me maybe zoom out on a weekly so you guys can better understand, right? This weekly model is what we've been looking at pretty much for the balance of this year, right? For the start of this year, we've seen gold, the dollar trend within this channel. And then last week, I think it was essentially middle of last month, I eventually converted my views from being a dollar bear to a dollar bull, saying that we are now outside of structure. And we've been cleanly outside of structure for at least the past 4 weeks, right? That's on a weekly time frame. If we zoom in from a weekly to a daily, right, you're going to see that there's certainly some trend here. There's certainly some structure we can start to bank on from a price action perspective, albeit it's not the neatest of trends we've ever seen, and we may need to alter something along that line, right? Now, looking at this trend, you can see that the dollar's been exceptionally strong, even leading up to the close of last week. We received a little bit of a pullback, but we're heading back into that trajectory. I expect to see some sort of hesitation, some sort of resistance level on the dollar at the zone, and I'm hoping that these two coincide with the NYSE Open. That's going to be happening in about an hour and 15 minutes from now. Hesitation along this level, the dollar has been extremely strong, pushed into new highs multiple times, but this engulfing candle that we witnessed on the 28th, which I believe was on Thursday, essentially shows me there's some weakness in this area on the dollar. We failed to make any low. I think there's going to be a slight retest again, just because of the fears of the government shutdown that didn't materialize, just because of the fears that are currently floating around at the moment. But I would like to see some sort of rejection here on the dollar. Now, if we get a rejection, does that mean, everything's going to buy across the board? I don't think so, right? We obviously have to clear and make area for a new low, currently sitting on the dollar, and that would mean essentially getting below this wick of Friday, right? This Friday move here is a key example of where the liquidity in the markets are for the dollar, and we need to get below that 105.32 mark to see any sort of sustained movement to the downside, which would then correlate to some sustained movements on both gold to the top side as well as USA 30 further towards that top side, and that will obviously again further correlate on USA 100. So at the moment, we're at a very, very fragile state on all markets, right? We are in a bear market, we are in a downside move, but a change of state represents opportunity, right? We've been in a sustained bear market at least for the last 2 weeks across the board on indices as well as commodities. Any sort of shift in the sentiment on the dollar may give us exactly what we need at this point in time. I'm hoping we see this in the next hour or 2 hours at least, leading up into the NYSE Open, and even just before that, would really be looking for a rejection at this level, which will trigger a bunch of orders across the board. So please keep an eye out for this. If you're not looking at the dollar, simply just set up some basic levels, some basic alerts, both on NASDAQ as well as USA 30, otherwise known as Dow Jones, and then primarily look at gold, right? Again, because of the strength of the dollar, gold has taken a massive tumble, guys. 1925 to 1831. That's almost $100 per ounce of gold that gold has declined just in the last week, right? That's not sustainable. You guys know the rule. Anything that must go down has to come back up. Everything that goes up must come back down. So I would be really, really keen to start to look for a buy opportunity, a break on the 1860 mark, and that could very well recover to 1905 or beyond. right? So that represents a really, really good pip count. 400, 500 pips on gold is a really, really good trading session. Doesn't matter which way you cut it. So that's where my current objectives are. Another opportunity I'm just going to touch on really, really quickly is USD ZAR, right? USD ZAR has often ranged up into this 1920 to the mark, to the dollar. So we've often seen moves up to the 1920, 1925, 1930 area, but this whole area represents essentially market liquidity. And what we're looking for, if we get that rejection on the dollar in this 106.50 mark, that might represent a really good sell opportunity on USD ZAR, having a look at a rejection. This is currently looking at a 4-hour time frame, so this will be considered not necessarily a swing trade, but certainly we'd be looking for a sell-off to the 1880 mark, right? So a good amount of pips, a trade we can hold for a day or two, but I would set up some alerts right here at this level, sitting at the 1925 mark is where you really want to be monitoring. So across the board, we're seeing the dollar strength dominate the market. We're not seeing any market that is not being subjected to scrutiny just based on the dollar alone. And when you have a market that is so focused on one particular currency asset class, right, as we're seeing right now, all we need is a shift in sentiment on that same currency to have market opportunities across the board. Oftentimes we will see a break in correlation between indices, gold, oil, FX, right? And again, those break in correlations means we have strength and weaknesses on different pairs across the board. In this particular case, all we have is a super red hot bull dollar, and that bull dollar, that super red hot dollar, needs to cool down at some point. I'm hoping we're in a position to see that cool down and to capitalize on that cool down. So I think that's going to be the main focus today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, is having a look. Do we see that dollar cool down? Is there opportunities for us, and are we able to catch those trades? Now, some might say, but Dane, the trend is your friend. If the dollar's red hot, why are we not going with a strong dollar? Why are we not selling commodities? Why are we not selling indices? Why are we not going that route? And the reason we're not going that route right now is primarily because it's Monday. The markets are fearing that government shutdown. And again, as we see today materialize and or complete itself, we're going to be looking at, can the dollar break this high? Because if it can, you absolutely know we have to then follow the dollar, right? We're not looking to trade against the markets, we're looking to trade with it. And should we break that 106.50 mark, again, then all bets are off for commodities rallying or for indices rallying, and we will then go into bear territory on all of those instruments, and we'll end up holding that out long term. So that's the current setup, and that's what we're waiting for to materialize, and we'll see. Please remember, there is a big change coming up to the golden nugget, right? If you are part of the Saturday's training, I'm going to reveal to you a shift in times that we're looking at. Most cases, we're looking at golden nugget moves at 9 a.m. every single day. There's a shift in time ever so slightly, but it has the biggest potential difference to profitability. Now, this happens every season, right? As we near closer and closer to daylight savings times shifting, we see that sometimes these what some people refer to kill zones, we see these times shift up by 15 or 30 minutes. So there is a big shift. So you do want to make sure you're part of this Saturday's golden nugget V2 training that'll be happening at 1 o'clock. I'll distribute that for all Premium Plus clients. Now, we will be making the announcement this week on the new platform, as well as our new potential trading home. And there's a third item that I'm not yet ready to announce, but it is also in the woodwork, right? Many of you have been asking about copy trading. Our copy trading is ready. It's here, and I will be announcing how to get involved in getting your account plugged in and get some sort of safe ROI from the comfort of your home. Whether you're trading or not trading, be able to make a profit on the side is always a beautiful thing. Now, guys, we are super hard at work. There's a lot of big changes coming up in our community, with our leadership groups, with how we do everything as a whole. The one thing that remains tried, trusted, and will not change is Premium Plus. So if you're not yet a part of Premium Plus, do yourself a favor, get in. We're going to have some special incentives, some special gifts and prizes for those of you who are already part of Premium Plus by the time we make some of our changes, right? Premium Plus is going to go up in pricing for members who are not yet already part of it. So if you want to secure that pricing, make sure you receive amazing benefits, more than you can receive anywhere else, anywhere in the world. You want to make sure you're in part before I make the announcement because then you are only going to get the new pricing, which is going to be more expensive than the old pricing. So you want to lock that in. Quickly going to go through and have a look at some of the comments really quickly before we wrap up. Looking forward to Gold Nugget V2. Got to call the Platinum Nuggets soon. Power. Let's see. Gold for the win. Getting spanked down. Gold. Richua. I know it's not Richua, but now Richua. Hoping to watch that bull swing we did a few weeks ago. Absolutely. So what we want to do is we want to make sure, and you guys will notice this. I don't know how many of you have noticed. If you're looking for swing trades, right, and there's some reasons why we don't have enough time to get in it for today. A lot of the swing trades develop. Listen to what I'm saying, right? A lot of the swing trades develop within the first 7 to 9 days of a new month. First thing. Second thing, a lot of the bigger swing trades develop within the start of the first week of a new quarter. Think about that. We're in the start of the new week of the last quarter of this month, and we're going to start to see a lot of directional changes. And why is that, right? It's because portfolios, businesses, all of these massive asset management firms rebalance their portfolios for every quarter, meaning the start of a new quarter, they have an opportunity to revise, rebalance, shift money for the next quarter based on how markets are performing. Just think about that a little bit. It'll make sense. If you've got it, you've got it. If you don't, you don't. It's one of those things. We will go through that in quite a bit more detail. I'll maybe speak about that in the Golden Nugget V2 training. We speak about why markets are shifting at certain times and why others are not. But other than that, guys, we are working super hard behind the scenes. If I look a bit tired, I am. Even though we're super well rested, we're super happy, God is good, life is good. We are working super hard in the background to make sure we're giving you guys, and you guys will get absolute best anywhere else on this planet right now, right here with BVM Market. So to all our leaders, to all our clients from around the world, to all of our traders, we love you, we appreciate you, and we will show you that not in words, but in actions in terms of the products and services that you are going to be getting from us and receiving. So super excited to make the announcement. I wish it could have been today. We are still ironing out some bugs. Will be very, very, very soon. Guys, as always, you know the drill. Much love, be safe, trade safe. I've got some alerts in these levels. I'm working in the background, but if these levels get hit, best believe I'll send a trade through to Premium Plus. If it's not hit, I'm going to send a level. You guys know the drill. Once the new social environment and our community environment is up and running, we have a dedicated team to providing market opportunities. Right, so it's not just going to be myself. We have a bunch of specialists in particular fields providing opportunities, and some of them are some of the leaders that you guys are seeing in the chats, in the groups already. We're creating a very unique way to share our views and our experiences in the market that everybody can benefit from, right? So that's the vision, that's the hope, that's the dream. It may work tremendously or it may not, but best be sure we're always here to make sure it will succeed. Other than that, guys, you know the drill. Be safe, trade safe, and until I see you guys a little bit later, have a great afternoon. I've got a leadership meeting at 3 o'clock, so if you're part of the leadership group, don't forget the leadership meeting, and I will see you guys a little bit later. And until then, goodbye.